Welcome back to the Man That Can Project podcast. We can just look at each other. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
2 weeks, two blokes from Longreach.
Yeah, what's the
I should have
odds?
gone on tour. At the moment I'm in Matty's beautiful house. Like when I was coming down the drive, I was like, this is the sickest pad of all time. But you've been the most requested person every time I've put up an Instagram question box around who should we have on the podcast. And everyone's like, Matty Saunders, Matty Saunders, Matty Saunders. I'm like, what is it about Matty?
Oh, don't ask me.
Everyone wants to know. And then we're at Amy's album launch, whenever it was, and you and I were sitting there, and then we came up with our acronym of the HABs.
The Habs.
Husbands and boyfriends of the bands and athletes.
Yep.
Here we are.
Well, if there's wags, there's got to be Habs.
There's got to be
Has to
Habs.
be, especially the more and more that female sports and things like that start taking off. So.
I know. Exactly. I'm proud to be there.
Yeah, 100%.
But I know that's going to be something we'll dive into. But firstly, Matty, appreciate you giving up time. I know you're an extremely busy dude. You're about to head off to work after this.
Yep.
And you're doing so much all the bloody time. But yourself and Cara always make time for Amy and I, and we're super grateful of that.
No worries, mate. Always.
But I wanted to get into more about who you are. You obviously grew up in Longreach.
Yep.
Country boy, bull riding, all that sort of stuff. Take us back to the beginning and we'll navigate to how you've gotten to where you are now.
Yeah, I grew up pretty much in Longreach. My family used to own a lot of properties and stuff out there. As Dad got older, their side moved actually to Nambour.
Oh, really?
So they sold their properties and then just bought one or two up here.
Yep.
And Mum, they own half the town between their whole family. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
the king of Longreach, the king and queen of Longreach.
Yeah, they were. So yeah, they've grown up there pretty much our whole life. About 12 years old or whatever. We obviously went to St. Brendan's College in Yeppoon just to get a good education. As soon as I'd come back, pretty much every single time I'd be straight out to work with Dad fencing. So bit of hard work straight from day one. As soon as you get back from school.
No holidays for you, mate.
Nah, it sucked, but in the same token, you kind of appreciate those things that later on, not at the time, and then obviously it helped him out too because it's pretty hard to find anyone who wants to go out in the middle of nowhere and build fences in 45-degree heat with all the flies and nothing around you. So. And then, went to St. Brendan's College from grade 8 to grade 12.
What was it like? Because that's a rugby league school.
Yeah. Funny thing is, it's a rugby league school, but it's also a massive rodeo school.
Really?
Massive, yeah. Well, so a lot of the pro bull riders and things like that coming up are ex-Brendan's boys. Yeah. They used to have one of the biggest rodeos in Australia at the school. Yeah, on the school grounds every single year. Yeah. And then pretty much all the footy boys or whatever that have your steer rides. Yep. And half the footy teams would all go and ride the bulls and all that stuff. It was awesome.
Were you doing bull riding at this stage?
Yeah, I pretty much started 13 or 14, I think. Yeah.
Would you start with the potty calves originally or what?
Yeah. Yeah, I was on potties for a bit and then it was just kind of straight into steers and bulls and that. I roped in that as well because Mum and Dad are really big into it.
Fuck.
So, yeah, we massive rodeo household pretty much.
Did you ever watch that film 8 Seconds? The one about
mate,
How good is it? It's
so
a
good.
cracking film. every time I'm like, Amy, let's watch it. She's like, no. It's so good.
I tried to actually get Cara to watch it and she was like in and out of it, but it's, great movie.
What's it like bull riding? Because I've done the potty calves, but I don't think I ever would. That's crazy, that sport.
Yeah, it's just all adrenaline pretty much. Like the whole thing is like you're in fight or flight from the moment you start to get in and onto the chutes and onto the bull until it's over. And then it's just a blur out there and then you're racing for your life to get away from it and that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's just full fight or flight. You're just literally working in that system the whole entire time until the end.
Yep.
So it's like trying to, I guess, the hardest thing I think with it is learning how to manage the stress that you're in at the time. Like, because there's so many things that can go through your head. Like, you can go to, I'm going to be dead, or I can do really well. I wasn't really any good at it, but
just loved it.
Yeah, I just really liked it. So, I did it up until I was probably about 19 or 20.
Yep.
Till I pretty much joined the army. And then it's kind of like they're like, yeah, you can't do that anymore.
It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
Did you have any bad like stacks or bucks when you were?
I had a few, but like nothing
Yep.
really compared to what you get. Like I didn't break any bones. I was knocked out a couple of times, and like I had some massive internal bruising and things from sometimes I've been bucked on. But because I was working out with Dad, I had could barely sit down, and he's like, "Mate, get on the shovel. It's time to go out and start working." So. You never really had that chance to feel sorry for yourself or anything like that either. So,
what'd you learn from like the bull riding stuff?
I think the biggest thing you learn is just like that cowboy up mentality. Like shit goes down, but you've still got to keep you just got to keep up and keep going, because that's just the culture of it too. You know, it's like, you can't yell out and scream or whatever if you hurt yourself. You just got to wince through the pain and kind of keep going. So.
Yeah, it's probably not the ideal situation to stop and cry when you get bucked off if that bad boy's coming for you.
And a lot of the sport too is like you may get injured, but then you may have to ride a second bull or something may have happened, and you've got to get on. Like they're like, here, you get another shot, and then because it's cost you money and you're trying to win money, you kind of don't really have that chance to sit back and say no either. Yeah.
How do they judge it? Because it's obviously that 8-second buzzer, but is it like style points and whatnot?
Yeah, fully, yeah. So it's like based on the style of the bull and how well you ride the bull, pretty much is how they judge it. So,
mate, I just think about sitting in the chutes, knowing that they're about to unleash hell on you, and their goal is to buck you the fuck off.
Yeah, well, the thing is too is like what people don't realise is it's just as dangerous getting ready to go out in the chutes than it is out there.
Really?
Yeah, because there's so much space between like each side of the bull and the chute.
Yep.
And the bull is an animal, and if they don't really like you on their back, they'll thrash and jump around, and you'll jam your legs. Or, there's so many videos of dudes sitting in the chutes or whatever, and the bull's reared up and smacked them in the face, and they're out cold before they've even gotten out in there. So, yeah, it's like one of the only sports in the world where preparing to do the sport can be just as bad as going out to do the sport.
Because Amy's playing the PBR, she's playing Mathena and one other one as well, so that'd be good to
that'd be so sick. Yeah, they're good.
And what made you want to go into the army then after that?
I was in Longreach and fencing with Dad, and
didn't want to fence anymore.
Nah, pretty much. I was like, my old man kind of pushed me into it as well, and then I was actually one of the guys who I was friends with at home. He joined the reserves, and he loved it, and he's always coming, oh, mate, you should join, you should go do it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can go away a couple of weekends at a time, see what it's like. And then it was like, and honestly, for anyone like out in like those areas or doesn't have any idea of what to do with their life, it's such an easy thing to go and do to set yourself up to figure out what you want to do later on in life too. And who knows, you may love it and stay there forever too. But so I joined, went up, and I just went, no worries, I'll just go do the reserves. And then I was there for probably about 6 to 12 months, and then a deployment came up to the Solomon Islands, just a peacekeeping deployment. Yep. And then I was like, put my hand up, got selected to go on that. And then as soon as I was over there, I really liked it and loved it. And
what's like a peacekeeping role? What does it even look like, or what is it?
It kind of depends where you are and what the situation or what the government of that country wants. Solomon Islands was more, I guess you would put it more as we're like a shelf, was like a presence in the community. Like we didn't really do anything but it was like if something bad happened, then we were there. Yep. So, and then we'd, honestly, it was more like a PR type of hearts and minds is what they call it. And going out in the communities and playing with the kids and just like going around and checking, make sure everything's okay. And, that there was nothing like really of any substance, like of anything that may have been an issue or could have arisen to be an issue going on. But our role over there was really more like a hearts and minds is what they call it. So nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's kind of like cool to visit a different country like that and see how it is and things like that. And then when I was over there, I was like, I might just go full time. So
made the decision for
you. Yeah, it helped me make that decision. So it was definitely a good stepping stone to go and see if I liked it before going in full time.
So you went through reserves and then got like the option to go do the peacekeeping, and then that's where you loved it. And
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, so I was you're essentially full time while you're peacekeeping because it's like 4 months.
Yep.
or 3 months. And then after that, I just signed and said, yeah, I'll stay on, and then got put in Brisbane. So, because they were raising a new battalion at the time, which was like 8-9 RAR.
Yep.
And then so I just slotted straight across into a new battalion. And
so 8-9 RAR, is that just like the label for your group, or how does that all actually work?
Yeah, so it essentially, so a battalion's like 1,000, roughly 1,000 soldiers of infantry soldiers or whatever. And then so we were 8-9 RAR, so we were back when Vietnam was on, there was the 8th battalion and the 9th.
Yep.
And then after it finished, they, just joined them together.
Yep.
And then they disbanded it because they didn't need it. And then Afghanistan and stuff started up, so they needed more soldiers. So then they re-raised the battalion pretty much.
Shit.
So,
so was there like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 RAR as well? So
yeah.
Cool,
so up to pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I think like 4 RAR it's 2 commando regiment now, but pretty much they all went all the way up.
Yep.
So
I always, when people say that, I'm like, I think that's what it means, but I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
That's epic.
All over it.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So then, when you jumped in on that, so how long were you in the military from then?
About 6 years.
Oh, epic.
Yeah. So I was there for a while. I was in infantry, and then I guess I was a little bit, I wasn't really senior at the time, but I was a little bit more senior because I'd had some sort of background where a lot of the guys coming in were fresh out of like training academies. So I was pretty much put as like a second in charge of about eight guys or whatever. So you're pretty much just a logistics. You're like mum, pretty much, for all these younger kids. And then make sure they've got all their stuff, and you'll help out with like the corporal with tactics or whatever and things like that. And then I got pushed up across into motorised. So I was driving the Bushmasters and crew commanding the Bushmasters. So I'd be out the hatch. And then help, drive and navigate through whatever we were going.
What was that like? Because were you in that role when you because you went to Afghanistan as well?
Yeah. So
what was that like? Doing that there
over in Afghan. It was good. Yeah, it's good.
Were you in that driving role then?
No, I was out of the hatch, navigating, in charge of I guess the crew of vehicles or whatever we had. Or I wasn't in charge, but I was like one of. I was the nanny again for all the guys. So
what was that like, having your head hanging out, just sort of navigating in those? Obviously, what we see on the news is probably different to your experience there, but
it's funny. It's kind of, I guess, not as nerve-wracking as you think.
Yep. Because
you've kind of trained so much for it that you kind of know how it's going to go. I guess without... I wouldn't really say there was a time, especially when I first got there, where I was nervous or scared or anything like that.
Yep.
You just kind of, I guess you're a little bit more hyper vigilant of what's going on and things like that, because you've got so much stuff to think about. And I guess there is a chance that your life is on the line at any moment. So you're just kind of really trying to do the best with whatever you have, so... And then, but it was really crazy. It's we rocked up to our battalion. So we were in a patrol base with a whole heap of Afghan soldiers.
Yep.
And there's about 1,000 of them, and there's about 100 of us.
Yep.
And before we got there, they just killed 3 Australians. So they killed 3 guys from the crew before us.
Shit.
So I was heavily on edge. 3 guys have just been shot from somebody who they thought they were helping, turning out... It, was the enemy. Yeah, so it was very tense, and then it was pretty full on going into that, and then knowing this had happened, and then we've got to try and work with these guys after the relationship had soured with our guys and theirs pretty much. So so it was that was pretty intense walking into that, and then obviously seeing how they were. With what they've experienced and how they'd had it, and then what we had to go in and deal with and work with as well. Yep. So that was pretty interesting. And then it was
it would have been fucking. I'm just thinking obviously the way movies portray it and stuff, it's always something bad's gonna happen. So
it's funny. like, you think about a movie or you think about it's like Instagram, right?
Yep.
So 95% of the stuff that you see on Instagram is a 5-second part of someone's day doing something. It's the same over there. So like if anything was going down or was on or crazy, it was like a 1-second thing out of, a 6-month operation, like you'll be doing all this stuff and, the amount of, say, a contact or something like that you may have got in or you may not have got in, it's just a small snippet of the whole time. There's a lot of downtime, like waiting to go and do something or things like that too, which I guess people don't actually realise as well. Like there's a lot of, they call it hurry up and wait. So get there as fast as you can and now sit here until we need you. And then, so, yeah. So that's, I guess the movies kind of portray it as action all the time and it's quite the opposite. Yeah.
What, so then you were in there for 6 years, fiery now. What made you want to leave the military and get into that role?
Honestly, the biggest thing that made me want to leave was you get treated like a kid. You know what I mean? And then I was like a 2IC, and then my job was to make sure that these guys were being treated like children, essentially. So we'd be going out field for an exercise or whatever, and they'd be like, make sure they have 3 pairs of socks. And I'm like, if they don't want to take fucking 3 pairs of socks, that's their problem, not mine. Like, they'll deal with that. Like, why do I have to make sure that this dude who's got a 4-year-old at home who knows how to look after himself, like, why can't you trust these guys well enough that if they don't want to take 3 pairs of socks, they have to deal with that issue?
Consequences.
You know what I mean? Or, if they want to take 7 pairs of socks because they want to change their socks every day, they've got to carry that extra weight. And if they're happy to do that, then that's on them.
Yep.
So I guess, I guess I got sick of babying.
Yeah.
Like, or being put in positions where you'd have to baby someone and things like that.
Do you reckon that's like the farm boy coming at you where it's like you deal with the consequence, like
probably, yeah. Well, you get how you get treated out there, like it is how it is. Like you've got to go do this, go do it. So and then how they get it done is up to them, I guess. So
because I always viewed the military as like it's extremely disciplined, but I always thought it was like the power was handed over to you to make sure you're disciplined, but obviously you've got people in place to make sure that you do the things you.
The biggest thing is too is like I guess they really do treat like a lot of the guys like I guess they go as like the lowest common denominator I guess like
fair.
If someone's they've joined the army and they're 18 and they've never left home or and they've never had to do anything, like they've got to account for that. So by accounting for that, they account for everyone the same as that. Gotcha. As opposed to, because there's large numbers and stuff too there, right? So I guess the fact that they have to do that, like I guess other guys will get lost along the way. So it is hard, but I guess they have their reasons for it. And then I just didn't like those reasons. So I was like, it's time to go. So,
if you don't like it, change it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, was it hard for you to get into the fireys?
Yeah, man. It is. It's very... If anyone listening to this wants to be a firefighter in Queensland, now's your chance. You will never have a better chance to be a fiery than you do today.
Why now?
Because they've put on 300 extra positions. So they've got to fill them. And they need to fill them quick. So there's plenty of spots. So when I applied, they reckon there was like 5,000 or 10,000 applicants for 30 spots, and it took me 3 years to get in, and everybody on my course roughly waited at least 3 years.
So were you out of the military at this point when you were applying, or were you doing that during?
No, so I had like a gap, I guess. So I had I got out of the army, and then I was working. I'd put my application in, and my application went quite well. So it was kind of like, you'll get a job, it's just when. So, because when I applied, you'd do all your testing and then you'd just sit in a pool. And then as they needed people, they'd just pluck from that pool and take you for an interview.
Gotcha.
So, when now it's like every single round, there's a whole new interview process. So if you fail at once, you can reapply and keep going and keep going. So I went back and worked for my old man for a little bit. And then Manus Island, the detention centre at Manus Island. So it started hiring people. And I didn't want to go work for Dad anymore, so I went and did that. So I did that for about 6 months until I got into the fireys. So
Fuck.
Yeah.
And been loving it ever since. What's it been like in the Fire East for you?
It's great, yeah. It's such a good career that you can kind of do. Like I'd say the average like age in the Fire East is probably like in their 50s.
Yep.
Because no one leaves. Once you're there, you're there. Like it's a career, and it gives you a really good like work-life balance and stuff as well. So like, especially with Cara being an athlete, I was able to be home and assist and help with Scotty and whatever else, the active and things like that.
Yep.
Because you get like, it's like 2 day shifts, 2 night shifts, 4 days off.
Yep.
You know, and then if the night shift's not too bad, you might get a few hours sleep or whatever.
Yep.
So you can come home and not have to sleep. So you can kind of treat the day as a day.
That's epic.
So it can be really good for that. So we'd it's like just gives so much back to you, especially going from the army where you're always away. So you'd be away for like 3 or 4 months of the year.
Yep.
And then when you're back, you're still like doing training or whatever and things like that. And you know you can't be sick, and your holidays are predetermined.
Yep.
Like you'll have your holidays at school holidays or whatever. But now being on a roster where you can facilitate being at home and things like that, it's just so much better. So
it's good that when you didn't like something, you changed it, because a lot of people would just suffer through it, and leads to a whole heap of problems in other areas. And obviously in the Fire East, as you said, the flexibility. So for those that don't know, your wife Cara, she's obviously one of the greatest CrossFitters of all time for the females. And what year was the year that she collapsed with Murph?
Was that 2014?
That was, anyway, watch the video. It's fucking like heroic stuff. Like it's badass.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the event after that, like if you go back and look at the whole thing, like she had that and then she like took 3 or 4 bags of fluid over the next hour, then went back and competed, and she took like 20th in the workout. Yeah. And then she went on to finish 5th that whole thing after like barely being able to survive like for the whole time. And if she didn't overheat and got that place and the workout that came up, if she went how she should have, because it was a snatch workout, she probably would have been on the podium. So it's crazy. Even if they gave her a couple extra hours to. So crazy.
Mental fortitude's unreal. But we're in a similar position in regards to, obviously we've both got our own careers and we're doing awesome there, but then our partners are extremely successful in their own right as well, which is, I feel it's becoming more common, but it is different for how a lot of us have grown up, where the men, we're supporting our wives' careers, whereas historically speaking it's generally the women supporting the men's career. What was it like for you, obviously when you first started to obviously getting married and all that? I haven't even thought about how to phrase that question, but being so supportive, have you ever had any like backlash from that, or ever thought about, because there is a sacrifice that goes with it, but putting Cara's needs before yours and stuff like that, like where does that all come from? And you do it so bloody well. Like you literally, as Cara was saying at the album launch, it's like you're doing active, like you're doing a million things and then still going to work as well.
I don't know. I guess I don't really think is like in my eyes, she's doing the harder work and she's doing, I guess, like something that's of a little bit more significance when I'm sitting at home doing nothing, right?
Yep.
So I guess what I can do is try and assist her in ways that like I feel I can.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not the ways that she may want me to, I guess, or whatever, but it is what it is. Like I guess you just try what you can and do what you do. I guess there's opportunities and stuff. Like you probably know as well, there's definitely like if she's doing something like that, there's still opportunities for you to go and do something like in with her or in conjunction or to assist her that may end up being something that you like doing as well. I think people can see the opportunities, like they can see it as a sacrifice as opposed to seeing it as potentially like an opportunity. You get to be on some sort of a journey like with your partner, and not many people get to do that, right? And you get to support them, because it's, I guess, like same with Amy or whatever, it's essentially like a family business. And I think people don't really realize that. Like, she's a sports person and she's doing this and that, but she also needs somebody to help her out. She needs someone to come with her. She needs to go somewhere else. And, you know, you can either be bitter that she's getting like whatever, or you can like help her out, you know, like it's up to you what you choose, but you just need to make the most of whatever situation you're in, really, don't you?
I think it's that perspective you were right with there, around like how you view it, because I think in the beginning I was like, fuck, I'm sacrificing so much for Amy, but ultimately it is a business we're doing together, and every business has multiple roles, you know, marketing, sales, the face of the brand and all of that, and I think my own ego wanted to be the face of the brand for so long.
Yeah.
Whatever brand that is.
Yeah.
But then now it's like, okay, well, even if I'm carrying bags for Amy or driving her, it's still an important part, because if that wasn't getting done, she'd be stressing about that or whatever, which then decreases her performance and all of that. But I think definitely for a lot of men, they find it hard, you know, common question I get as well is like, what's like having your missus out earn you? I'm like, I don't really care or think about it, because I've never really thought that way, that I, you know, obviously you want to be a provider, but you can provide in your own ways. It's not always money. We always just think about money. Yeah,
well, we always said, I guess, like the money side of things, I guess people can be, I guess, triggered by that or whatever, but my earning is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Her earning is a risk,
you
know, and it can be a very financially profitable risk.
Yep.
But, you know, there's always a risk there, so we need to support the risk to help, you know, make it grow, you know. Where, like, I can go to work and bring home a good income every single week, and then, you know, we're both kind of providing in different ways.
Yep.
It is definitely a thing, I guess, where people can be, I know, like, triggered or whatever, or they find it an issue that your missus is earning more money than you, but who gives a fuck? Like, really? Like, who cares? Like, are you happy doing what you're doing?
Yep.
Yeah? Is she? Yeah? Then what's the problem?
Yeah.
You know, like, you're providing it, like, what? It's not, you know, 1953 where she has to stay at home and you have to go earn all the money anymore. It's as long as you guys are happy with whatever dynamic you have in your relationship, it really doesn't matter who's bringing in what. It's like, as long as and we've always said too, no matter what happens, if everything went to shit tomorrow and we were broke, we'd still be just as happy living in a 1-bedroom unit and make the most of it, or living in a tent somewhere, than what we would, you know, living on the coast in our house where we, you know, want to set up for a while. Like, it's more about the company you keep than
100%
whatever's coming around. And I think people lose sight in that, because this person's this or this person's that, but at the end of the day, she's not that to me.
Yeah.
You know, she's Cara. She's my wife. She's not a CrossFit athlete or anything like that. That's her job, you know? And then the rest is like us helping each other and, you know, getting, you know, and just living our days. So
that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Such a good point. Because, obviously people watch Cara on, you know, videos or whatever, but even people loving you, like, I know you've got a big fan base just because you're such a support in the, I guess, a team dynamic for Cara, and people always want to, like, I've seen it so many times, and probably why you get requested so much. I want to hear from Matty. Like, tell me more about fucking Matty and how you think. But you're both such down to earth people. Like, Cara was in Amy's Kiss My Fat Ass. That's when I first met you guys, actually.
Yeah.
And we got along really well, and then we've caught up. Well, I was training with you guys heaps through COVID and stuff, which was fun. I was getting my ass kicked.
Dave.
Dave. Like, we had a good crew then. But I think even I had an idea of what I thought you guys were like. But then when you meet you, like, you're just people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think obviously one of the challenges you face, and I know also Amy faces, is the ability to make first impressions. Like, people think they know you based off what they see.
Yeah, Cara, like, obviously not me so much, but Cara definitely, like, she's a person who people have made their decision up or judged her, or this is how she is, and they've never met her, you know. It's the same, like, Amy, you get it, and like you as well, you know, like, they think they know who you are, but like the snippet you see here or something that you see there isn't that person at all. You know, you've got to actually walk up and meet that person and have a conversation before you get to make that judgment, you know. I guess it can go both ways. Like, there's always that, like, never meet your heroes saying, and it can go both ways too, right? Like, they might catch you on a bad day and you might be like, just fuck off. Like, you know, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's the rudest person I've ever met. And you're like, well, were they, or was that just you caught them at a shit time? Or did you come up to them, when they were doing something else and rudely asked for a photo and then they were rude, you know, or something like that. So, it's you do lose that, you know, sense of making a first impression.
Yep.
But yeah, and the thing is too is you may be somebody of like, you know, influence or whatever out there, but it just whatever you see on there isn't necessarily that person, you know. Like it's like we always say, like Instagram's a highlight reel. It's not anything else.
Yep.
So you've just got to treat it like that. So you'll never, I guess, unless you know them personally or you've walked up and met them and had a conversation, you're not really ever going to know that person in any sort of a substantial way, which is cool. And you can still value them for who they are and what they put out and really like that person for how they are. And you should follow those people. Yep. And you should like take their advice and things like that if you find it beneficial to you.
Yep.
And then if you think they're an idiot, just unfollow them. Like straight
Simple.
up. Yeah.
What do you feel has made your relationship with Cara so successful in the terms of, I guess, you know, career-wise, you've got a family, you're doing renos, you've got a bit, like you guys have got actually a lot of stuff you're doing. How do you make that work without wanting to rip each other's heads off?
Look, some days are better than others, you know, like same as every relationship. We spend a lot of time together, like pretty much 24/7 we're together. I think it helps being best mates with each other.
Yep.
And liking the person and liking to hang out with them all the time.
It's a good starting point.
Yeah, and because, man, like you can end up in relationships where you don't like each other too, right?
Yep.
Or you just never really liked each other and you kind of fell into it and then you
stay.
Yeah, and they stay there and blah, blah, blah. But, like you've just got to like the person you're with because you're spending a majority of your time with them.
Yep.
And you need to really value their values and you need to really like who they are.
Yep.
Because that's who you're choosing to spend all your time with.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest part. Like you just need to really like the person that you're with.
Yep.
And if you don't, like, I don't know, change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds simple when you say it like that, but so many people get stuck there. They're like, oh, I'm scared or don't want to be alone.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I think life is meant to be simple. Like, I don't think it's meant to be overcomplicated or hard. I think we make it at that.
Yep.
And I think when you just strip it all back, as long as you're happy and you're like you're happy to live good days.
Yep.
Then like that's all your goals set out to do. You know, like no one dies or sitting on their deathbed wishing, you know, they had more money or they had this or that. They just, you know, they just want their memories and take them with them. Yep. Like that's pretty much anyone you speak to or anything you read or anything you see. That's pretty much what they tell you. You know, it's just like. Yeah. Be happy in your days and make good memories. So
I think that's one of the beauties about being in the bush, right? Like you get to experience. When I say simplicity, like there's a lot of complex things in the bush, but like you don't have a heap of stimulation from the city or millions of people at you. It's like a lot of space and time to think, and you know, one problem at a time to work through. But in the city, it's so busy and so noisy.
Yeah, man. Yep.
That
100%.
you can't even focus or process so many things.
Yep.
And like, I'm grateful for Gundy and Toowoomba and that. Whenever I go back home, I'm just like, I've been focused on the wrong things, which has made me more anxious and put stress on my relationship and various, you know, I've been chasing the wrong things.
Yep.
But as soon as you go back to, the bush, you're just like, life is literally about the people you're with and the memories that you're making with those people. Everything else is a bonus, but it's not worth sacrificing things for.
And life's slow out there too, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like it's slow. Like you've got to go find something to do. It's not like here, there's a million things at you every chance you get, you know. Someone's doing this or messaging you or there's 16 people in your area that are, you know, trying to copy something that you're doing or do this or do that or it's like constant. I actually saw you know, have you watched 1963?
Is that the
Yellowstone
No,
spin-off?
I haven't seen it's a new one, right?
Yeah, it's so good. So there's a saying on there, I was talking to Cara about the other day, and Helen Mirren says it on there. So she's talking, our mate's marrying like his girl or whatever, and she's like come from the city or whatever, and you know, they're now out in the bush or like, and then she's talking to her and she goes, like the girl's like unsure because they've had to go off and, you know, muster cattle and, you know, they're meant to get married 3 days later, but the cattle take priority.
Yeah.
So she's gone, hey,
Our dogs are having a little chew in on the potty.
Yeah, want to have a chat. But yeah, so she's upset because now they can't get married or whatever.
Yep.
And Helen Mirren goes, I'll have a chat to her. And she goes, there's going to be hard times out here. It's going to be crap. You're going to do this and you're going to do that. And you're going to miss all these things. But she goes, but you're going to be free.
Yeah.
And you'll be the freest you've ever been in your whole entire life. And I was like, yeah, that's so true.
Sums it up.
Yeah.
You're spot on with the freedom that you have. We were down in Tamworth last week and we were staying at Gunnaganoo Station for 2 nights and just the sky. We would get home from the performances is 11. I'm normally in bed at 9, but just because the sky was so clear, the stars and Milky Way, we'd just pull out a chair and sit there for 2 hours talking because it's just you can't hear a single thing.
Yeah.
There's no light. It's just peace.
Yeah. We're actually really lucky here. We kind of get that.
Yep.
Because we're that little bit further away and then we're back on the reserve.
Yep.
So all you hear is animals.
It's epic.
It's so good. It's just, being away from all that hustle and bustle is...
I think there's definitely something to be said for that and for people who struggle with overwhelm and all of that sort of stuff. It's just find a way to get out of the hustle and bustle, as you said, and just chill out, give yourself some time to think and process things.
Yep. We haven't for a while, but we really we try to prioritize that as much as we can when if we're going on a holiday or something. Mind you, don't get me wrong, it's been a few years thanks to COVID, but anyways.
Yeah, you feel like you need to scrape those few years from your life.
Yeah, but we go to Bali and we just kind of set up doing everything slow. We like to, when we're not on, we like to try just slow everything down and kind of do stuff, but do it at a nice normal pace as opposed to racing around, And then you just need to,
100%. Yeah, it just goes tomorrow's February. It's it just goes way too quickly. And once again, it's what do you want from your life? What do you want to actually achieve? Yeah. And it's not quite often. It's not even about the destination, as you were saying. You're on this journey together to making memories and you're creating stuff. But you're a supportive husband. You're raising a family. You've got a business together. You're doing all these fun things which you do have goals and milestones for. But the fact that you get to do it with your wife is the next best thing.
Yeah, anyone out there, if you're married or whatever, you have a partner, I fully, 100%, I totally think you should try to do something together.
100%.
It's man, what are you with them for if you can't do something and have something to do together, And even so, her competing or whatever, I obviously just took a backward step or whatever, but I was still able to be there every day and help her out or, go to the games and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at all, man, but just go and help her, backstage or, if I think of something, I can give her the advice and she can take it or she can't or whatever. But, we get to look back at that, in 30, 40 years time and go, man, we did that together. How cool's that, Or if our, with active or whatever, if it becomes really, really successful, we get to go, man, this was us doing it together, And I think so many people in their relationships, they kind of just end up segmenting themselves as you're this, I'm this, and that's how it is. You go do your day, I'll do mine. We'll meet up and, we might like doing stuff together every now and then, or you go hang out with your boys. And I'm like, man, why are you married to this person?
Yep.
You want to hang out with them as much as possible, they need to be, like you said, your best mate. Yeah, that's what they're for.
I agree 100%. Yeah, it's definitely, as you said, the segments, but Amy and I do so same as you and Cara. We're always together, and we always want to be. Even if I'm catching up with, obviously you have your lads' nights and whatnot, but 80% of the time Amy's with me doing stuff, or I'm with her doing stuff. Because everything up for me, and it's everything's better when we're doing it together because it's your best mate.
Yeah,
you don't want to have to get home and go, oh, it would have been better if you were there. It's well, just invite you.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is too, there's you get to be I guess, when you accomplish something, you get to do it together.
Yeah.
So you get that pride of doing it together that a lot of people don't ever really get because they segment or whatever.
Yep.
And it doesn't even have to be business related. It can be let's go join the gym together. Let's go and take a hobby up together. Let's go do something, together. I feel like it gets lost so much. I think because people end up so busy.
Yep.
Or they choose to be busy, or they choose to do stuff apart.
Yep.
And yeah, we're the opposite. So, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that think we're idiots for doing what we're doing and we lose each other because of it. But we're happy, you know, and like we really like each other and we really like us too, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's good to hear that though, because, you know, previously it's like you hang out with your mates, I'm just trying to shake the missus off, and then I'll come, and it's like funny to a degree, but it's also not. It's like, it's good that you can actually be proud of your partner and you want to include. And I think it's awesome that from, you know, for me and Amy, it's like being able to watch you guys, especially when you're in the spotlight, still not just have this societal norm that you don't do things together. It's like, and most people go, Mike, and I've experienced it where people are like, oh, you're just on Amy's back pocket. I'm like, regardless of her level of success, I'd still be supporting her because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah, 100%,
and she supports me, and that's it. It's
and,
simple.
And the thing, how I see it too, I'm like, if you didn't want to hang out and support your missus, then you don't want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
move on.
Yeah, move on. Like, go find someone that you want to. Like, and that's it. And now, like, we've got Scotty, and we've just...
Who's a legend.
Yeah, she's so
good.
But yeah, we've just included her in everything too, you know? Like, now there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere we go, there's 3 of us pretty much.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she gets to be involved and learn things and do stuff, and, you know, she gets to thrive, I think, because of that.
Yep.
You know, like, she's so cluey, and she's, like, all over everything, and she thinks she's 34 or whatever, and, you know, she just does her things, but she's so awesome, and, you know, everyone loves hanging out with her, and she's definitely got something special about her. Like, I've never seen a little girl, like, since she was like 1.5 to 2, she'll be walking along doing her thing, which is whatever her thing is, and, like, there'll be like a 75-year-old dude, and he'll just stop and smile and laugh at her. Yeah. And, like, it's just made his day, and he's kept walking on. I'm like, man, I've never seen a little kid be able to do that to those type of dudes, you know, like old tough, you know, hard dudes or whatever. And then, I'm like, oh, that's such a cool little thing. But, and I think, just, like, trying to harness that in her too, right, you know, like, bringing her with us and doing stuff with her as much as we can so she can develop who she wants to be, as opposed to, I guess, like, I think a lot of, like, people do that. They may, like, you know, it's each their own. If that's what you choose to do, it's how you choose to do it. Yep. And they might go, like, you take the kid for this thing and I'll take and do this, but we just kind of just bring her along with the journey with whatever we're doing. So allow her to join into your life rather than building your life around her almost. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What's it been like becoming a dad? Oh, it's awesome, man. Yeah, it's really good. It's definitely a massive change. Yeah. I guess we're, like, a little bit less fortunate, where we don't really have any family around us either. So, like, my parents are hours away, and, you know, cars are in Brizzy or whatever. So we we kind of do, like, we don't really get a break. So in that, not that you need a break, but, you know, like... Yeah, well, we're still having some downtime. Yeah, you know, like I guess, like, the more intimate me and her times are a little bit more special. 3 people, you know. Yeah. So we don't get them. So when we take them, we try and use them. We're really lucky. Like, she's a little bit older now, and Cara, like, breastfed her till she was 2. So obviously until then, no one could really take her. Yep. And now we kind of get that little bit more, more us time and things like that. We've got a lot of friends and stuff around us now who really help us out. Yep. But yeah, it's definitely a massive, I guess, it is a massive change to your life, but it's, and it can be a shit massive change, or it can be a good one. It's just whatever you decide it to be. So, and we chose to make it a good one. So, yeah, she's it's good fun. We love it. That's awesome. Yeah. And talk to us about active. Yeah. So, you guys have been around, what, 4 years, 5? Nah, maybe 3. Is it? What are we, 2020? It was before COVID, right? Because we're... In COVID. Was it in COVID? Yeah, we launched in COVID. It was 20... Does that mean you still had the gym open in 2020? I don't even know. Yeah, that's what I'm confused. Because remember we did the photo shoot at your gym then? Yeah, so we had that, and then we moved to Function Well. Yeah. And then we kind of disbanded there. Yeah. I can't remember when that was. Yeah, time's a blur. Yeah, 2 or 3 years, I think. But yeah, it's going really well. We're just about to bring out some men's clothes. I know, I'm excited for it. Oh man, so we're slowly getting there. It's like, hopefully by April, I reckon we're getting our last
Easter.
Yeah, we're getting our last samples before production
Yep.
coming in the next couple of weeks, and then they'll be good to go.
How did it come to be for you guys? Because obviously, when 2020 or whenever it started, like, what gave you guys the idea to launch a company, and was it something you always wanted to do? Or
Well, actually, I had same thing. Like, I wasn't really a part of it at the time. Cara and her business partner, not her business partner, one of our mates approached her and goes,
Yep.
"Hey, I want to start a business with you. Pretty much, like, really
Cool.
value you and,
Yep.
and things like that. Like, let's sit down, and have a think what we can do." And then they were like sitting at home one day doing GHDs, and they were like, "Man, my sunnies keep falling off. How can we fix this?" And then pretty much came to Cara and
Active
said,
is born.
what can we like? What do you think about this? And she goes, "You know what? There's no cute." Those are her words. There's no cute sunglasses that
I
you
thought
can
they were
train.
your words of choice, mate. Come on.
She goes, "Yeah, there's no cute sunglasses out there
Yeah.
that you can train in. You know,
Yep.
they all just like too sporty or too this or too that."
Yep.
She goes, "Yeah, this will be good." So then we did that, and then we've branched from sunglasses out into apparel or whatever. And I kind of jumped in when Cara was competing, and they needed her to take a more of an active role in the
Yep.
business. And then obviously she wasn't struggling at the time, but it was like a little bit more on her plate.
Yep.
And then like I just tried to do what we do and just
Yep.
try help her out or whatever. And I just kind of jumped in on the R&D stuff of
Yep.
it, I guess, and started.
Because you're doing some designs and whatnot, aren't you?
No, I'm not doing the designs. I'm doing like the functionality
Yeah.
of clothes, but designs is definitely not me. The girls tell me what they want, and then I can just try to piece it together and speak to the guys and get it all sent. I'm pretty much doing like, I guess, the techie side of it.
Yep.
So like, the materials and the
Yep.
I guess what a dude would kind of like in that stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
colours, designs, that is not me
Yep.
whatsoever. That's the girls. So
I was hoping to see with like a pin design board and all that.
nah, no mood boards. Nah, I just they just give me what they want and
Yep.
what they need and what feels good, and
Yep.
then I just go and do all the research and find out what materials
Yep.
and stuff it needs to be made out of and what cuts they like, and
Yep.
pretty much go from there. So yeah, I same with the sunnies. So they just tell me what they
Yep.
like and shapes and things like that and bits and pieces, and then I just try and make it happen.
What's the goal for it over the next couple of years?
Be big.
Be big.
Big. Yep, that's the goal. So, yeah, we are definitely more like, I guess, like a fitness lifestyle brand. So,
Yep.
like, I guess our mantra is like, to encourage people to be active and live good days, and then
Yep.
just look and feel good doing it. So
Yep.
that's what we're trying to do. So, we're trying to bridge that gap. I guess, like we were saying, like it's almost like a rip curl or a
Yep.
billabong of fitness.
Yep.
Like trying to get that really good, like, comfortable shit you want to wear all day, every
Yep.
day, and then you can go train in, you can go hike in, you can go surfing in, you can
Yep.
kind of go do everything in. But yeah, we want to be a functional fitness based brand around that.
That's
So,
exciting.
Yeah, so we're really, and then obviously we've got the sunnies and stuff as well,
Yep.
which we've put so much effort and stuff into. And then, like, obviously because we're a smaller company, you've just got to put so much more, I guess, like effort and quality into your product, because you can't water it down. You know what I mean? Like if someone's coming to you and it's the first time they're coming, like, the lenses in our sunnies are 70% better than our number one competitor, because we have to use like the optical clarity of
Yep.
it. Like we have to use the best lenses on the market in our cheaper sunnies
Yep.
just to kind of, have people wear them and go, oh shit, yeah,
These are good.
I'll convert across,
Yep.
because we want to create people who are going to be a part of our community.
Yep.
So the best way to do that with clothing and stuff is to make sure it's good. So
It's
yeah.
good that, and this sort of, a lot of what you've spoken about in all areas of your life, you won't compromise on quality and I guess integrity ultimately to make a quick buck or take a few extra steps forward, because it's like, it's a long-term plan, not these quick wins.
Yeah, we're definitely, like, we're both, me and Cara, like, especially, we're so aligned in that sort of stuff. And like, she is like the number one, like, self-critical, like, she's a grinder, man.
Yep.
Like, she's always working and trying to be better and things like that.
Yep.
And when you have a partner like that, like, it does make you look at yourself a lot more too and go, man, like we got to be like
on here.
Yeah, we got to be good together. You
Yep.
know, like I don't want to be left by the wayside either. So we kind of, I guess, always working, and obviously that becomes a reflection of our business. And then when you've got her as the number one chief, tester, and she's ripping it apart and things like that, you just know that when we bring something out, it's going to be a pretty good product. So
definitely.
It's just, I guess it's all just because it's part of our life, So
and it's cool that you've made them all fit together rather than just doing something completely random to make money. It's like it literally from everything that you guys do in your life, it's the three of you, the family, and it's also a representation of how you guys actually live your life. Yeah. It's not like you guys are a bunch of slobs running a fitness brand. It's like you literally practice and preach what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And like Cara, she is like, she's got a tattoo on her back and it says Meiraki, and it's like to do stuff. Yeah, it's I think it's Greek, and it's like to do stuff with soul and passion. Yeah, that's what it means. And like that's who like she is too. Like she will not do anything that she does not believe or value or want. Like she could write a program tomorrow and she'd probably get 1,000 people signed up, but she goes, I don't want to. She goes, I know I can easily do that. She goes, but it's not who I am. I don't want to like sell myself. If she's like promoting something or anything like that, like it's just purely based on like, she has to love it, or like everything that we do, like you just have to really like it or it's not done. So that's pretty much how it all goes.
It's epic.
Yeah.
I want to respect your time because I know you got to work soon.
No worries, man.
But where can people follow you on socials and also find out more about Active and get some glasses and some training gear when it comes out for the blokes in April?
I don't really know if I'm worth following on socials.
Mate, come on. Fucking man. Everyone's just listening to this. They're like, this dude's got it sorted.
No, I don't. I don't have anything sorted. But I'm still just floating, trying to do the best I can.
Modest.
I don't even know my Instagram. I think it's Matt Saunders with a 0.
I'll put it in I'll attach the link.
And then Active Eyewear is the clothing brand, which will soon be having a little
it's
change.
going to have a little bit of a spruce.
Yeah, we're obviously because we're not just an eyewear company anymore. We'll be going to like Active Lifestyle Co.
Oh, I like it.
ALC.
I like it.
Yeah, it should be cool. That's coming up soon. But yeah, at the moment we're Active Eyewear or Active Performance Eyewear. So there's a little change coming there. So
I like it. Appreciate you coming on, man.
No worries, bro. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. Oh, thanks for having me at your joint.